Hello, I'm Candace Kelly, and I'm joined by Florida Senator Rob Bradley of District 7, who is with us today to talk about some of his proposed legislation for 2016. Thanks so much for being with us today.
Thanks for having me.
All right, what's on the table and what has made some progress is new experimental treatments for terminal conditions. Mainly, we're talking about marijuana. Where are you so far with this bill and these new experimental treatments?
Sure, the bill is moving through the process, and I would anticipate that the Senate is going to hear it during session. 2 years ago, we passed the Compassionate Medical Cannabis Act in the state of Florida, which made available for families who have children who are suffering sometimes as many as 100, 200 seizures a day. We gave them access to a product called Charlotte's Web, which is a form of cannabis that is low in THC. THC is the part of marijuana that makes you high, and this was a low form of THC cannabis, and we made that legal in the state of Florida. This bill that we are pursuing this year would expand the universe of people who are able to receive medical marijuana to those who are dying. I've been approached by many of my constituents, and this really is not a political issue. This is folks who are Democrats, folks who are Republicans. I happen to be a Republican. But across the political spectrum, my constituents have said, you know, we appreciate what you did 2 years ago in helping those families in need, but, you know, I have a family member who is terminal, and their only option for treatment, for pain relief, are pharmaceuticals, which can be can be dangerous.
Right.
Can be
kind of a subdisease in its own self.
Absolutely. Some of these opiates are very strong, and they would like to have more options. And I think that the vast majority of people that I talk to believe that those individuals who 2 doctors have determined are in fact terminal, are facing end of life, that we should give them what options they want to relieve their pain at the end of life.
And if we look at other states and the trends across the nation, I would imagine that, as you've already said, you've gotten support from both sides, Democrats, Republicans. This seems to be something that is very popular and that a lot of people are looking to do legally.
It's the right thing to do, and you can never go wrong doing the right thing. And yes, I have found both amongst my colleagues and amongst the folks that I represent in the community that there really is broad support for this idea that we need to make available to people who are at the end of life whatever treatment they think is best for them. That really is the decision between that individual, their family, and their doctor, and government should get out of that business, and we should not make those individuals criminals.
I think it says a lot about the process, too, in that people came to you and they kind of compelled you to move into a different direction and enlarge the footprint of this. Just speaks to really how the process works in terms of how you, as a politician, do listen to your constituents in terms of making things happen.
It was amazing because when we did the bill, the Compassionate Medical Cannabis Act 2 years ago, it really was a small universe of individuals that would be affected. It was really just those children and their families who were suffering so horribly from these seizures, and it was demonstrated that there was some options for them, some medical cannabis options that were available for them. And we said to ourselves, this is crazy. These people are not criminals. They're trying to provide relief for their children. That resonated with a lot of folks around the state, and it made people say to themselves, well, if that's your argument in favor of allowing this for these suffering children, how come I do not have those options for my family members who are at the end of life? I should have those same options. And you know what? They're right. And we need to inject some common sense into the decisions that we make here in Tallahassee and in Washington and other places.
We have about 20 seconds. I hate to do this to you, but I do want to get an update about negotiation that would allow Blackjack gaming with the Seminole Tribe. Could you truncate that for 20 seconds for us?
Absolutely.
Do what you do best.
We've made significant progress. The state of Florida and the Seminole Tribe has about 7 casinos in South Florida on their tribal lands, and the state of Florida has an agreement with them to allow them to have card games. And that agreement is subject, there's a portion of that agreement that's subject to expire. We're making significant progress to allow them to continue to offer those games, and in exchange, the taxpayers of the state of Florida get about $300 million a year in revenues that they can use for core services like education, transportation, and those sorts of things.
All right. Well, I want to thank you so much for being with us today and giving us insight about what's going to come up for you in 2016.
All right. Thanks
Good
for
to see
having
you.
me.
Sure thing. I've been talking with Senator Rob Bradley here in Tallahassee, Florida. I'm Candace Kelly, and as always, thanks for joining us here on Comcast Newsmakers.